We got a still platinum. Was that platinum or silver? Surtrax. In PvP, what do you do versus Mass Phoenix if you opted Blink Stalker, Keep Stalker? I mean, you could go High Templars for feedback, but mostly Stalkers. And I mean, Mass Phoenix is definitely pretty hard, but there's a pretty big window where it's vulnerable. But you know, Stalkers in each base, heavy expanding, stuff like that. Go charge out Archon Stalker is probably the comp you want. When am I going to stream Brood War? I would consider playing it again, but I don't have it, so... Isn't it still like 20 bucks, I think? How much is Brood War? Buy it now. 15 bucks for Brood War. 18-year-old game, 15 bucks. Pretty crazy. I'm bad in Gold Lead. I know I'm bad at the game. Please, no judgment. People will judge, man. That's how it is. Surtrax, you're basically me now, Surtrax, okay? You're basically a streamer on Twitch, Surtrax, where every single game, every single mistake you make is now criticized by Twitch chat. It's not criticized by Twitch chat. So we're gonna just kinda, I'm not gonna, also we had a donation, didn't we? Llama Hydra gave us $5, man. Thank you. Sorry I kinda missed it. Thanks for doing what you do. Thank you, man. Appreciate that. But, yeah, let's see what you're up to. Here you are. In the bottom right, our man Surtrax. Alright, so, yeah, I'll just give you thoughts and stuff. Clear selection. I have never seen that before. Did they just add that? Oh, you guys can't even see it. Okay, let's see it. Let's see. A Fire 2. Alright. I don't need to see any more Surtrax. This is a perfect start. 14 pylon. Nicely done. Nicely done. You're on the right track. Oh, and you made a friend. Look at Surtrax. Much cooler than I. This is okay. I don't know if I love scouting early because you don't really need to scout early on this map, in my opinion, but it's fine. It's definitely, you can scout early if you feel, you know, scared or don't want to get cheesed or something. Seems good. Seems good to me. That all seems fine right there. Look at this. A little bit early. I thought it was, but technically it should be placed 10 seconds before this one because the Cybernetics Core takes 36 seconds to build, and the Gateway takes 46 seconds to build. It gets cut off, but the Gateway takes 46 seconds. You're gonna have to just take my word. But yeah, looks fine. Looks fine. Scouting around. You might just mess this up this game, but the third pylon, the second pylon should never come before Cybernetics Core. It should always be Cyber Core and then pylon. Small thing. Kind of a big thing though, because your Cybernetics Core is much later, and you scouted his base here. So like when I see something like this, Surtrax, especially with you on this type of opener, you could definitely have opened double adepts here and really just shaded them into the mineral field and, you know, attacked workers and killed 4 or 5 workers and just been so far ahead. Right? He's got a pylon here, he's got a pylon here, he's only on 1 gateway. How is he ever going to deal with 2 adepts in his mineral field, right? Even a Mothership Core scouting would be okay because you can't really deal with it. So, yeah, consider something like that. Consider when you go into a Protoss base, you know, where his pylon placement, if he's got nothing to defend his mineral field, especially if he's on 1 gateway. If he's on 2 gateways, you can still go for it. I usually still would go for it if they're on 2 gateways. But if they're only on 1 gateway, but if the pylon placement is, you know, not covering your base, look at you, dude. Yours way better. Look at the pylon placement you have. It's really good, right? I mean, I would have loved to see the Cybernetics Core here because now you're going to be down, you know, quite a bit on your Cybernetics Core timing. But, you know, you can really abuse adepts here and just get your, like, if you go double adept, try double adept opener. And then, you know, watch the replay and see really how many workers you're ahead. You know, maybe your Nexus is a little bit later, but if you killed 5 workers for a little bit later of a Nexus, so worth it. You know, I consider going, you know, double Adept, double Stalker, double Sentry, and then, you know, expand before the Sentries, or maybe after, and then just opening Robo is an option to go. You could also just open Stalker, 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 so 1, 2, 3, you know, double Stalker, and then 3rd and 4th Stalker, and then double Sentry expand with a Robo. You know, or you could open Stargate. We'll find out. But just something to think about, Sir Trex. You know, when you see really weak pylon placement, consider opening double adept. You know, chrono one, chrono the other, try to get them out at the same time, and then just really be annoying. Killing, you know, even just 4 workers in PvP is huge. Imagine if he's on 15 workers here, 17 workers, 16 workers, right? It's huge. So, you know, you're kind of hurt by the early, you know, he's going greedy, but you went pylon. You know, your pylon really hurts you here because your cybernetics core is not even done, and he's on a Stargate already. So this is kind of a tough situation just because you went for the pylon before cybernetics core. Right? It should be gate, core, and then your second pylon. So that's really hurt you here, right? Look at how much look at how fast the Stargate is. Right? Let's see what you decide to open with here. Oh, did you scout that, by the way? Oh, nice. You did scout the Stargate. Or you should have. If you clicked on this. You did click on it. You did click on it, it looked like. Okay, so you know it's Stargate. This is good. You've opened double Stalker. You've gone Twilight. I'm okay with this. I would have said, although you could have gone, like, so, okay, I'm okay with the Twilight, but I would prefer to see maybe a delayed Twilight and just have your Stalkers, you know, get 2 Stalkers out, 2 more Stalkers, you know, expand, or 2 Stalkers expand, and then 2 more Stalkers, and just get, you know, 4 Stalkers in each mineral field-ish, or, you know, 4 Stalkers here, and then, or maybe 4 Stalkers down here, and then, you know, pylons here to defend, and then get a later Twilight after you've been chronoing probes for a while, because when he's on a Stargate like this, he's never going to be attacking you, right? There's never going to be a lot of pressure when he goes for a Stargate like this, right? There's going to be an expansion, of course, from him, and like, you know, you don't really need the Twilight because, you know, what are you going to... Blink will help you a little bit to deal with Phoenixes, but it's not super... You don't really need it, right? You can just have them in the mineral field, and it's like... It's not bad, but, you know, you're investing, you know, 150, 100 here, and then another 150, 150 in Blink. You know, it's lazy Nexus. I think when you face Stargate, you really just want to be chronoing probes and defending mineral fields. You don't want to get too crazy and maybe eventually going to charge out, you know, Archon Storm type deal. So he's opening Oracle, which is better than Mass Phoenix in my opinion. But see, like, look at how defensive this has forced you in. And I think a lot of it started with the, you know, the Cybernetics core being a little bit late. That really does hurt you, because then you can't, you know, imagine if you brought your Mothership core this game out. He cut his Mothership core. This guy was playing so greedy. If you had the same Cybernetics core timing, you would have done the same exact build, except this all would have been faster. And then, you know, same exact thing, dude. You know, you see no pylons here. You know, consider double adept, which would have just killed him as well, because he was so greedy to get the Stargate he got before his Mothership core. It's a really fast Stargate. You probably won't face this very often, right? And your build would be better, a little better, but you know, imagine if your Mothership core was in his mineral field. It would also just win you the game, right? Imagine even now, if you brought his Mothership core to the mineral field, you'd win the game, right? 1 Stalker would come out, but you know, you can get a ton damage with, you know, I would always recommend Mothership core scouting on this map, and then just making 2 Stalkers to defend a Mothership core scout. Or, you know, you can still open double adept and then double Stalker and still defend a Mothership core scout. Interesting to bring your Stalkers out. I don't love this. I mean, you're scouting to see if he's expanded, which is okay. But, you know he's on Oracle, probably should be defensive, and you do have a little bit of a hole here. But think about what happened as well. I would never go tech structure unless it's on, like, Dust Towers or, like, a Stargate, maybe. Stargate's the only exception, I guess. But only like a 1-gate Stargate. And I don't really like Stargate openers that much anymore. I don't think they're that strong. I like, you know, expanding and going into Twilight Robo or Twilight-ish area. Except maybe on Dust. Dust is kind of the oddball where I do like going Stargate. But I think you should never be going for the tech structure before your expansion. It should be expansion, and then, you know, more probes, and then Twilight. Or expansion, you know, let's say it's not on Stargate, expansion, and then your robotics facility. I think that's really important in PvP, because, you know, you fall really far behind, right? You know, you're at 4 workers, but his Nexus is a lot farther ahead than yours, and he's got the Oracle, right? Although he hasn't really done anything. Oh, he lost his Oracle. Or you killed his Oracle. I wasn't paying attention. But, you know, you're actually in an okay spot here, right? You're up 4 workers, you know. A little bit fast on this. I mean, once again, you know, it's one of those things that comes in time, Sir Trex. Exactly comes in time. You know, it's hard to... Oh, man, is this going to be an annoying attack for you here? No pylon. So this is kind of where you lose the game, I guess. Right? I mean, you actually played this fine. He canceled Oracle and went straight into Voiders. Okay. But you played this fine. I mean, you would have won the game if you had 1 pylon here, Sir Trex. The game is actually over. I mean, look at this. You would have had 14 more workers than him. 14 more workers, bro. And like, look at this kid. He's just floating, so he's doing some crazy thing. But you know, you just win this game if you had one pylon here, right? You know, maybe send a probe to the watchtower, right? You saw him coming at you, and you just didn't make one pylon. You know, one pylon with overcharge here, and you just win this game because you have insane saturation. Really, this is an okay opener. I think you're getting your tech structures a little fast, and I want to, you know, advise you when you're playing Search Tracks to be careful, you know, especially when you see like Stargate and stuff, to go too fast in the Templar Archives, you know, because they're just making a couple rounds of Stalkers, you know, playing it slow, even going for a very fast third, because when they're on Sky, they really can't punish your third base, because they're on, you know, let's say they're on 5-6 Phoenixes, they can't really punish a third base, right? So, consider something like that. But, you know, your probe production is really good, you know, maybe just, you know, playing a little bit safer with pylons up here, maybe better scouting. I mean, very oddball game, because this kid did a really, really weird build. But your saturation by this time is actually okay. You know, it's no charge to defend that little weird Void Ray push, and it really kind of hurts you. You know, you're still up a ton of workers, right? And now he's going into a very annoying heavy Sky composition. He doesn't have the economy for it though, because he doesn't have, you know, even for double Stargate you need one gas, so he doesn't really have the economy for this. What's he going for? He's going air upgrades. So, you know, Storm is actually okay if he's on Void Rays. I like the thought process here. I really do. Seems fine to me. You know, even now, dude, like, I mean, look at your economy. You know, take your gases, consider taking an expansion faster, but, you know, feedbacks for this, you're in an okay place. I actually don't think your play is too far off. I think maybe your decision-making, you know, see, nice feedback there. You need to deflect, and then, you know, this guy's not making many probes. I mean, the amount of probes you made, you know, if you just did this every game and got up to this many workers, you know, this quickly in most PvPs, I think you're in a good spot. I think your decision making could be a little, you know, a little bit better. I mean, you're only on 4 gateways now, and you know, you're kind of on oddball composition. You have Storm, you're getting Blink, Robo, third. It's okay. I mean, now you're not you haven't probed in a long time, so it's you're still, you know, still have 9 workers. I mean, look at the economy tab. Like, this is a game you can win. You know, Storm is really good versus his army, for sure. You know, maybe your scouting has been kind of lacking, right? I mean, you haven't really seen what he's been up to since the initial scouts, so the Robo maybe could have come faster. I also would consider maybe more gateways, especially when you go for a Templar composite. You know, when you go Storm against something Sky, you probably want to be getting Templar, you know, more gateways with this. And, you know, mind the gases right away. You know, I don't really... I'm gonna continue to complete the game, but... You know, most of your issues here, I think, are, you know, some of your early decision-making you make. You know, maybe consider more often, you know, trying to get aggressive. You see no weak pylon placement, Adepts here, Mothership Core here, right? You know, also remember to put your Cybernetics Core before, you know, before the second pylon. Really important. Could have just been, you know, you might have just messed up this game only. I don't really know. But if not, that's going to be a good thing to get your Cybernetics Core right on time again. And, you know, I thought your opener, you know, your pylon placement's great. Your opener was, you know, pretty good, except for obviously your late Cybernetics Core. I think you got to be careful going, you know, with the tech structure too soon. You can definitely go Nexus and then go for a tech structure, whether that be Twilight, whether that be Robo. I think it's one of those two, though. If you're going for a Nexus and a double gate opener like this, you shouldn't be going for Nexus and then Stargate, in my opinion. And I also really liked how you didn't, you know, when you scouted Stargate, you didn't say, oh, I need to go Stargate myself. Just going Twilight and going into Blink, I like that a lot, man. I think that's definitely fine. I think it's much better strat. You know, now you're kind of in tough shape because he's on, you know, Heavy Phoenix going into carriers, and you don't have many gateways, right? And your vision is lacking. I think, you know, your vision kind of hurt you, really. You know, you pushed out with those couple Stalkers to see if he's expanded, and what did you see? Hold that thought. Sylvanius, thank you, man, for 7 months in a row, dude. Very, very long subscription. Thanks for supporting the stream, keeping it going, man. I really appreciate it. 7 months. Ghost of PvP, thanks for that host as well. But 7 months in a row resubscribing means a lot, dude. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, man. But, you know, you're kind of in a tough spot now. You know, but you're still not in that bad of a spot. If, you know, but you're scouting. You know, you went double Stalker. He repushed. You didn't make a pylon. And, you know, even now, you don't really know what he's doing. You know, you're playing a lot of your game in the dark. I think just better vision will win you a lot of games, right? One Zealot here, maybe send a Zealot even here just to see what he's doing, right? He could have gone Mass Disruptor. He could be on Mass Immortals. You know, he could be on anything right now. You know, you made the Robo, you didn't make any Observers, so, you know, I also would try to get a Forge in, especially when you're on 2 bases, get a Forge in. But, you know, definitely just better vision is really, maybe consider making, that's why I think you should be opening like this more often. You should be opening, your first 4 units are up to you when you open double gateway. I think, especially in the lower leagues, opening double adept to try to kill a bunch of workers could be huge. You go, first 2 units adepts, I would just try it even if they have pounds in place because you can still get a lot of damage done. And then you open your 3rd and 4th units are stalker, and your 5th and 6th units out of your gateway are sentry. And I think this would be very good for you to start doing search treks. Especially, as long as you're a little bit safe with your pylons and, maybe you can try taking the watchtower, but your 5th and 6th units being sentries will allow you that scouting that you don't have this game, right? If you get 2 sentries, you'll be able to have hallucinated Phoenix scouting, you'll see what he's doing, and, you will be on Robo hopefully with that second. It probably won't be Sky like this, but, you're just in a situation where you don't know what he's doing at all. And, you could be losing to Mass Immortals, Mass Colossus, you could be losing to anything right now. Your composition's actually okay without scouting, but vision, it's huge in StarCraft, absolutely huge, bro. So, consider it. Consider, does this zealot really need to be here? Do these zealots really need to be here? We don't really have. Okay, now you are sending a probe to the watchtower or somewhere. All right. Okay, this is a scout. That's something. But it's still been. Think about the last time you've been in his base, dude. It was. Was it your stalker? Your stalker poke? That was in his base. And. Your probe, your initial scouting probe, and your stalker poke was the last 2 things you saw, right? So, your lack of vision really kind of puts you in this also awkward spot where it's like, well, can I take this 3rd? Should I be going for Storm? Should I be going for Immortals? I don't really know. I'm gonna play safe. I'm gonna go to this end. It's kind of like spreading yourself both sides because you haven't scouted, right? It's like if I was playing and I was playing versus the Zerg and I never scouted. And I was like, okay, I'm going to make 3 Disruptors and I'm going to make 6 Phoenixes because I don't know if he's going Mutas. I don't know if he's going, Lurkers. And it's like, well, if I just scouted and saw, oh, this is Mass Lurker, then I wouldn't have those 6 Phoenixes and maybe I'd have 6 Disruptors and I would win. But since I made 6 Phoenixes, I lose. It can be a situation here where it's like, you don't know what he's doing. If he's going Disruptors, Colossus, Phoenix, Sky, you don't really know. And it's like, okay, I'm going to make Immortals just in case. And I'm going to make, Storm as well. But if you just were like, okay, oh, he's going Sky, I'm going Phoenix, I'm going Archon, I'm going Charge, I'm going Stalkers, Immortals still aren't bad either against this to take up some of his ground, but it's one of those things where it's like, okay, this is what he's doing, this is what I'm going to do to deal with it. I can go this tech path. I don't need to worry about Disruptors. He's on Sky, right? We don't have to worry about that, You can cross out the list. So think about stuff like that as well. So just more scouting to give you more information to help you lead your decisions, right? When you're playing StarCraft, a lot of it is an information game. And the fact that now you kind of scout. Hopefully you were looking at that. Were you looking? I'm hoping you were. Okay, you did look. You did look. And Forge is definitely late. I would try to get it while you're on 2 bases. But finally, your army is still okay. You can actually beat his army. But the lack of vision kind of dictated you here. You still don't have the watchtower, so definitely work on your watchtower play. Work on your early game play as well. Where consider opening that, like I said, unit, sentry, and then so you can really start scouting. Because I think your scouting is really going to handicap you, and I'm sure it's handicapping you in all matchups. Honestly, always have the watchtower. Always have something here, right? You could have kept these for Storm as well. That probably would have been better. You do have Charge. You made a good call against his composition, right? He's on carriers, though. So, you're just not going to beat carriers with ground toss. I mean, you need Mass Archon with, maybe some shield upgrades. So, it's going to be very hard. You just can't beat carriers with ground toss. So, like, if you read this earlier, you could have hit a pretty big window where he didn't have carriers. He had 2 Void Rays, 3 Phoenixes, right? And he had no carriers. You could have hit that window. You could have come up here, killed these rocks, killed this 3rd, kept him on 2 bases, and then made this carrier almost impossible to go for on 3 bases. On 2 bases, he wouldn't have had the economy for it. You could have been maxed on Charge with Archon. Like when you're on this type of composition versus his type of composition, you don't want to be on the same economy. You want to be pressuring his 3rd, maybe a Warp Prism, trading armies because his numbers are low, and then trying to remax. While you have an easier composition to remax on. So, you're not going to win versus carriers, but, if you scouted and saw, oh, he's trying to get carriers, I'm just going to go attack him right now, you probably win this game, right? And this was with your limited vision. Kind of unfortunate he pushes out, while you're pushing in. But see, this is, this would never have happened if you had a Zealot right here. This would never have happened, right? It's like, yeah, it's unlucky, but, You know, if he had his Zelt right there, you would have been fine. He actually is coming all the way home. Good storms. Good storms, just carriers are too good versus ground toss. Carriers are too good. So, you know, my final takeaway, I mean, that's just how it goes. But my final takeaway is, you know, consider your opener. You know, consider opening, you know, your pylon placement was great. Remember, cybernetics score before your second pylon. Consider trying a double adept build. You know, it can be a little bit taxing. You know, if you're trying to, the first couple times, you'll be floating some money while you're trying to make the stalkers. But I would consider opening, you know, double adept, double stalker, double sentry, and between double sentry and double stalker, you take your expansion, and then you go double sentry. So it's like, this is how the build works. It goes double adept, and then, you know, you go mothership core, of course, third pylon, stalker, and then expansion, and then sentry, and then robotics facility. That's how the build goes. And then, you know, you just kind of work it from there with scouting. You make reads, you go into twilight. It'll become robo, and then twilight, and then forge. Those kind of all come together. And yeah, that's some of my biggest things is, you know, your opening game and just your lack of vision for so long in the game. You know, that's where I think this build will really help you. You have double sentry, you can hallucinate Phoenix, you'll have a faster observer placement. I think it's probably hurting you in other leagues, man. I mean, you said you're good in the other matchups, but, you know, always have the watchtower. If you're not on the watchtower, you should never feel comfortable. If you don't have an observer outside their, you know, outside their natural, you should never feel comfortable. You know, I think a lot of games you could, like, you actually had decent mechanics. You had decent, you know, you're making lots of probes. You're doing, you know, well, I thought. The biggest thing to me, Sir Trex, is, you know, your vision. You're putting yourself in, you're shooting yourself in such a hole where you never scout and you never know when attacks are coming, right? It's like if I was playing, you know, you really weren't bad. You're gonna climb faster if you just played better vision, man. More vision. You know, make double observer out of that robo every single game if it forces you to get better, you know, vision and map presence. Because I think there are probably games you lose versus Terran, versus Zerg, versus Protoss where, you know, it's like, oh wow, this attack, you know, this tank push is coming at me. I'm getting Baneling all in, you know, where it's like, but the first time you see it coming, Sir Trax, is when it's already in your base, right? That's the issue. That's the issue. So, you know, it's like if I was going to play my games in macro normally, but never scouted and never took the watchtower, and I just dealt with things as they were at my base, I'm going to lose so many games. If you just had a little better map vision, I think you're going to climb very fast because your build wasn't that bad. Your decision-making of going into Storm was not that bad either. And, you know, I just think really important that, you know, you really look at it and say, oh, you know, I'm not really scouting at all. I'm not really, you know, I don't have much vision. I don't know what they're doing. I'm taking blind guesses what they're going, or maybe I'm not taking blind guesses, but I'm, you know, I'm playing both sides. I'm like, okay, could be bio, could be tank. I'm going to get some charge lots. I'm going to get some disruptors. You know, you play both ends, and that's where you really lose. You know, scouting, vision, you know, really kind of seeing where they're at is huge, man. Is huge. So, any final thoughts, Sir Trex? You got anything in the chat to say? Any questions? Anything like that? You know, I think just you lack. I think, you know, you really aren't that bad of a player. You're really not that bad of a player, especially for, you say you got gold now again, which is awesome. But just more vision, I think, in your play. You know, always have it. If you don't have observers, have zealots outside their base. Zealots in the watchtower. You know, that if you can see an attack coming, it's going to be so much easier to defend than if, you know, the first time you know the attack's coming, it's at your base. So, you know, that's what I got. That's what I got, dude. That's what I got. How do you send